Robert Serafini. Please state your name for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Robert Serafini. I'm a Monroeville resident. I'm backing up Mr. Gordon. When Mr. Harvey said that at the last part of the meeting about giving the churches a 25% discount, I didn't think that was right. First of all, to bring it up at the end of the meeting when nobody could say anything. Second of all, when no one has said anything about that prior to that at this meeting. I've been coming to almost every meeting for the last 5 years, and there was never any mention at any of the meetings I was at. It's just, you know, it's like everything happens behind that door with you guys lately, and nothing comes out here. I didn't like it when you did that deal with Mr. Fulkerson. As a tax collector who's been here, you switched it and took this new thing about the sewage off of him. I mean, you guys have been doing a lot behind that door, nothing out here that's showing me what you can do. And like I said, with that 25% given off to the churches, I don't think that was right. And I don't think that is good to give the churches that. There's a lot of people in the neighborhoods that could use the money. Some of the people who are at fixed incomes that are just scraping by, they can use the money, not the churches. I mean, the churches can always find more ways to generate money. I don't care what you do. You ask the parishioners for a little more money. You can do things, have an extra affair once during the year, you know, anything. But I back Mr. Gordon up. I just don't think it's right the way you handled this, Mr. Harvey. And like I said, this was totally out of line, and I don't think you should do it. That's it.
Well, respectfully, Mr. Serafini, the discount is actually in print in the ordinance that we advertised for a month, and it was on the agenda, and it clearly outlined it. Actually, what Mr. Harvey was doing was highlighting that, but it was in print.
I don't read the damn computer every day.
Well, it's on the print agenda that you receive when you come to the meeting. It was in front of us on Thursday on the
about
print.
the 20%?
Absolutely.
I didn't see that 25% on there.
Yep, it's in the ordinance printed, so that was certainly done publicly. We
Well,
advertised it
that's
for a
my
month.
error if I missed it. But when Mr. Harvey said that at the end of the meeting.
And he was just highlighting it, that
Well,
wasn't.
if he lied, this should be brought up at the beginning of the meeting when people can absolutely stand up and just do what I'm doing now. Absolutely my disgust for the way it was handled.
Mr. Little.
Bob, I do have to make a comment about what you said. First of all, I respect you coming to the meetings and your engagement in the community, and I mean that sincerely. You know, but when you say this body is making the decisions behind closed door on things that should be deliberated in public, I have to take exception to that is not the case. Now, you have every right to come up here and voice your opinion, you and Bob, about the 25%, and that's your democratic right to do that. But I can assure you, nothing of that nature was done behind closed doors. The only thing we talk about behind closed doors is what we're permitted to under the Sunshine Law. I just have to make that comment.
Okay.
Because that's the way rumors get started, and that's the way the trust and integrity of an elected body gets eroded.
Well, the fact that when you had Pat Fulkerson, you know, with this new sewage thing and that, who would collect the taxes? In my opinion, he got a bad deal. Because the fact
your
that.
right. That's your right to voice that.
Fine. But like I said, he got a bad deal, in my opinion, because of the fact he put his proposal in first, then it was discussed with the other group, and then they put their proposal in, weeks later?
Not true.
Well, give me the straight on that.
Straight on out is that we asked Mr. Fulkerson to do it because we didn't know who else to get. Mr. Fulkerson walked into one of our meetings, about the MS4 meetings, and told us we should find somebody else. So we started researching, and we found out that the COG would do it. So after we found out that the COG would do it, we asked Mr. Little to see if he could get a price off them. In the meantime, now this is over a period of months. In the meantime, Mr. Fulkerson came back and said he was interested in doing it again. So now we had two people interested in doing it. So we went out and asked Mr. Little to kind of make up a set of specs and ask them for quotes. And that's what happened.
Is that correct?
Nick.
No, that is
That's not the way I hear it.
Well, okay.
Excuse me, use me a
can
name.
answer.
I didn't come here to talk about that, because I don't want to talk about it. It's a dead issue. But don't lie. I'm tired of people lying about situation, and I'm telling you the truth. And this is what happened.
Mr. Fulkerson,
Yes.
we're getting outside of our
I know
public
that. I didn't bring
comment
up
meeting.
my name. He did.
He's telling,
Yeah, I
he's-
didn't bring
he's
up-
responding to the
Yeah.
resident who brought up,
And it's not the truth.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. I know the truth, and you know the truth, and you did it behind closed doors.
There was other
Fulkerson,
more
please.
council people heard you come in and say it, Pat.
No.
Yeah, there is.
Who?
Everybody here.
No, everybody, who? Everybody here? Which one?
Mr. Fulkerson,
See,
Please.
Again, I know. I'm sorry, but he brought it up.
I brought it up, Pat.
And
like
he
I said,
brought it up
He's
saying-
been my friend for 40 years, and I rely on what he says.
and we are falling outside of the agenda
Yeah,
this
I'm-
evening.
Well, I'm
Again,
telling you
it's done.
why I'm saying what I say about the church
understand.
tax. I mean,
That
that's
you can
what the
speak
church-
of, absolutely, but I just want to be clear that, yes, that discount was
But what I'm
in
saying
print.
is, a lot of stuff that's going
That
on
is-
there, and stuff that you guys talk about when nobody's around, that's fine. You gotta have your individual meetings. But let us know what the hell you're doing before you do it.
We did by advertising it for a month and having it in print for everyone to read.
I didn't see that, and I apologize for that.
Apology accepted,
But somebody
in the
should have said
future,
something
though-
at the beginning of the meeting, so that I could have said something myself.
Well, we
I had to
don't,
wait
we don't read
three-
through, we don't read through every individual ordinance whenever we, on the Thursday Citizens Night meeting. We don't read it publicly. I mean, it is they're lengthy documents, but they're for everyone to view for a month. They are for residents to view when they come to the meeting. They are online. They're in multiple sources. And it was there. Mr. Harvey pointed out the discount. He didn't have to point out the discount because it's part of the body of the ordinance, but he was pointing that out in addition to. We all understand your stance on your dissatisfaction with that, along with Mr. Gordon's,
Very
and I
much,
think that's where we're at.
very much.
So we appreciate your comment.
Thank you.